T-45 Power Armor. The story begins in 2065, when Westech introduced the T-45 Powered Infantry Armor, the first functional combat-ready power armor in history. The world was bleeding resources. Vehicles were too expensive to build, fuel too rare to burn. So the US Army wanted something new, something that could walk, fight, and endure. The result was a metal exoskeleton powered by a micro-fusion pack, amplifying a soldier's strength, speed, and endurance tenfold. But war doesn't wait for perfection. When the Chinese invasion of Alaska began in 2066, the military rushed the T-45 into combat despite its flaws, including a critical weak point beneath the chest plate that Westech quietly ignored. That oversight cost countless lives, yet it gave the US an advantage no army had ever seen before. The T-45 became a symbol of American might, a steel guardian in the snows of Anchorage. It laid the foundation for the power armor frame used in every later design. But even with its strength, it couldn't secure victory alone. Stronger, tougher, and built for war, yet someone wanted even more. T-51 Power Armor. 10 years later, as the Battle of Anchorage raged on, Westech unveiled a new masterpiece, the T-51 Power Armor, officially entering production in 2076. Using the same core frame as the T-45, the T-51 was cheaper to build, yet vastly superior. Polylaminate composites made it lighter, while advanced servos and a laser-reflective alloy gave it agility and resilience unheard of in previous models. Soldiers in T-51 suits moved like humans but hit like machines. They could sprint, jump, and fight for hours without rest, and the armor's design allowed for resistance against both ballistic and energy weapons. When the US launched its final counterattack in Anchorage, the T-51 units led the charge, pushing the Chinese forces back and reclaiming Alaska. The suit became legendary, marking the peak of pre-war military success. After the war for Anchorage, T-51 Power Armor became the standard issue for America's most elite troops. It was powerful, refined, and efficient. But even as soldiers marched in triumph, Westech was already working on something stronger. T-60 Power Armor. Imagine walking through gunfire like it's just a light breeze. That's the T-60 experience in a nutshell. Behind closed doors, the US military and Westech began development of the T-60 Power Armor, an evolution designed to protect the American mainland from potential invasion and internal unrest. Introduced in the final months before the Great War, the T-60 was deployed primarily to the National Guard and domestic peacekeeping units. It combined the structural integrity of the T-45 with the flexibility of the T-51, resulting in a design that was both heavier and more versatile. The T-60 was coated in a special ceramic finish to increase radiation resistance, and its plating was thick enough to withstand direct hits from heavy weapons. However, it still carried the same vulnerable underplate that haunted earlier models. Even with that flaw, the T-60 became the most advanced and widespread suit before the bombs dropped, a final monument to America's obsession with military dominance. T-65 Power Armor. As the world spiraled into chaos, America began to fracture from within. During this time, the Secret Service commissioned the T-65 Power Armor, based on the T-60 framework but heavily reinforced for maximum defense. Its purpose wasn't to fight foreign invaders. It was to protect the president and key government officials from domestic threats. With reinforced plating, multi-layered coatings, and unprecedented radiation shielding, the T-65 was the most defensive armor ever produced in the T-Series. It wasn't sleek or elegant, but it was practically indestructible. Ironically, this symbol of government protection would outlive the very nation it was meant to defend. X-01 Power Armor. In the days leading up to nuclear Armageddon, the Joint Chiefs of Staff authorized one last experiment, the X-01 Power Armor Project. Developed as the next evolutionary leap in combat armor, the X-01 was designed to outmatch every previous T-Series in speed, resilience, and environmental protection. Only a single working prototype was completed before the bombs fell, handed to the Nuka-Cola Corporation for classified testing. More than a century later, the Enclave uncovered the original X-01 blueprints and brought them back to life. By 2098, they had refined the prototype into a fully operational model, sleek, deadly, and far beyond anything the pre-war military could have achieved. Unlike the older T-Series, which relied on polymer shells, the X-01 used lightweight alloys and ceramic reinforcement. Its insect-like visor replaced the traditional slit with dual polarized lenses that doubled as headlamps, providing unparalleled vision and intimidation. With its enclosed humped shoulders and compact design, it offered total protection. The X-01 was the future of warfare that never came to be. authority. The Enclave had bigger plans. Advanced Power Armor Mark I. With the world in ruins, the Enclave rose as the self-proclaimed successors of the old U.S. government. They took the X-01 schematics and turned them into something far more terrifying. The Advanced Power Armor Mark I. This was no longer just armor. It was a statement of dominance. Designed to maintain life support for weeks and equipped with radiation filters, cooling systems, and even urine recyclers, the Mark I allowed Enclave soldiers to operate in the most hostile zones on Earth. Its black, polished plating and cold mechanical breathing made it the stuff of nightmares. Civilians, mutants, and anyone tainted by radiation were exterminated without hesitation. The Enclave saw themselves as humanity's saviors, and everyone else as contamination. But even perfection can be improved. Under President John Henry Eden, the Enclave's engineers pushed the limits of the Mark I even further. The result was the Advanced Power Armor Mark II, constructed with ultralight ceramic composites that provided even greater protection and mobility. The Mark II became the symbol of Enclave authority, worn by officers, scientists, and elite strike teams. Sleek, efficient, and unstoppable, it was the last suit ever mass-produced under the Enclave's rule. Hellfire Power Armor. If the Advanced Power Armor was about control, the Hellfire Power Armor was about terror. Developed shortly after the Great War, its blueprints were stored and later recovered by the Enclave's ZAC supercomputer in Vault 51. When John Henry Eden ordered its completion decades later, it became the ultimate symbol of destruction. Hellfire Armor was designed for fire-based purification, literally. Its operators carried flamers capable of incinerating everything in their path. Built with advanced heat shielding and hydraulic muscle fibers, the suit amplified strength to monstrous levels. For those who saw it in battle, Hellfire Armor wasn't just a weapon, it was a nightmare in motion. It marked the end of true innovation in the Power Armor line, the last of humanity's attempts to play God with steel and fire. NCR Power Armor. Centuries after the bombs fell, the new California Republic rose to power, a union of settlements trying to rebuild civilization. When they clashed with the Brotherhood of Steel, they captured old T-45 suits and stripped them for parts. The NCR lacked the resources or expertise to repair the servo systems, so they converted the frames into simple, manually powered armor. Heavy, sluggish, and stripped of its energy cores, it was power armor in name only, but still better than nothing. Painted with the yellow NCR bear and crimson stripes, these relics became symbols of defiance and pride. Rusted giants marching under a new flag. Raider Power Armor. When civilization burned, the desperate became scavengers. Across the wasteland, old power armor suits lay buried in bunkers, ruins, and military depots. Raiders dug them up, stripped them down, and rebuilt them in their own brutal image. Made of scrap metal and stolen parts, these abominations weren't elegant, but they worked. A raider in power armor was a warlord among the tribes, a monster born of chaos and rust. Some versions were crude, others surprisingly refined, like the overboss armor of Nuka World's raider leader Coulter, which pushed the limits of what wasteland engineering could achieve. XEC-17 Excavator Power Armor. Not all power armor was built to kill. Before the Great War, the Garahan Mining Company developed the XEC-17 Excavator Power Armor, a marvel of industrial engineering. Designed for miners in the Appalachian region, it increased lifting strength and allowed the operator to carry several tons of ore. Its advanced sensor arrays enhanced visibility underground and even detected valuable minerals. While it wasn't built for war, its rugged design made it one of the most durable suits ever constructed. Many scavengers and settlers later repurposed it for survival in the wasteland. It's a reminder that not every creation of man needs to be a weapon, though most eventually become one. From war machines to mining suits, power armor has done it all. But what truly defines its legacy? Each model tells a story of innovation, of war, and of survival against impossible odds. Whether forged by nations or scavenged by wanderers, power armor remains the ultimate testament to man's will to endure. Now I have a question to you. If you could wear only one power armor, which would you choose? Share your ideas in the comments. That's all from me. Good luck to everyone, and bye.